This is the DNVR Broncos pregame show presented by Coors Light. I'm Henry Chisholm, joined by Bennie Fowler here in the Toyota Lounge today because the Broncos are on the road.
Yes,
no home
sir.
game. We don't get to do this from the tailgate. It's a little bit easier here, but it'd be a lot more fun out there.
Yeah, definitely would be a lot more fun, but I actually like doing the pregame show in the studio. Don't get me wrong, actually. The tailgate is a lot of fun, just being around Broncos Country and feeling the energy of the stadium, but I'm happy to do it here in the studio, the Toyota Lounge, and getting ready for a early game, East Coast game.
Well, and next week it's going to be the super early game.
Yeah.
Luckily, we'll be out there in
7:30 a.m.
London, but everybody here, oof, that's So my girlfriend's a Vikings fan, and
Really?
yeah, she's from Minnesota.
Okay.
And so I woke up at like 8:30, so I missed the first hour, and was like, okay, this is good enough. I can't imagine. Like a Sunday, part of the fun of Sundays, you get to sleep in a little bit. There's nothing going on, and then the football starts. These poor Bronco fans next week. At least they get this week to kind of transition into that.
Yeah. This is, shout out to the NFL schedule for, helping that transition. I'm actually an early riser on Sunday, so I'm usually up at 6:45, 7 o'clock. So I caught the game from the beginning. Hopefully we have more excitement in London than what we've seen this morning.
This has been tough. This is one of those games where you question why you put any money on it. Broncos have a big game, and we only have a little bit of time. Pre-game show is always the shortest show of the week, so we better just jump in.
Let's do it.
They're out in Philly, going up against the Super Bowl champs. What's the big storyline today?
Biggest storyline for me today is, can you build off of last week's performance? That's kind of how I'm thinking about the storyline is. Not that last week was a fluke, but, hey, you looked really good. It was a very convincing and decisive win. You win 28-3. But offensively, can you still have that continuity? Can you continue to find that rhythm and timing, especially with the running game and J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey, but then also the Bo Nix, Courtland Sutton connection has been great pretty much 3 out of the first 4 games.
Yep.
Troy Franklin has shown great flashes. Does that continue? And then, to me, is this the Evan Ingram breakout game?
That's a consistent storyline that we have here on the show.
I think this could be the breakout game,
think so
just based off of, we thought it was going to be the Chargers.
We did.
Based off of the way that they play defense, and he ended up not playing that game.
Yep.
I think, and for the fans out there who are listening, and we appreciate you, the Eagles and Vic Fangio, they play this cover 42, which is cover 4 to one side, cover 2 to the other side, or cover 2. They play a lot of zone, and you have to be able to beat them in the middle of the field. You have to be able to check the ball down, and you have to take what the defense gives you. And I think that's where Evan Ingram can really thrive, is on those basic routes. The basic route is that 10 to 12-yard dig in the slot, the shallow crosses, the hitches, the sticks, the stick route, which is like just a turnaround hitch. So those little things, I could see Evan really getting involved. But this also, I think, is a big storyline for me, is this is a Sean Payton game. This is why they pay you $20 million a year. If we're sitting next to Sean right now and hey, his introductory press conference, this is why they pay you for games like this. The Eagles have the better roster. They have the better talent. They have an incredible coordinator. They're coming off the championship. This is where you have to be the Sean Payton that we traded however many picks for.
A lot of them.
We paid a lot of money to per year. This is where you got to be your best. This is where Sean has to be his best in terms of play design, clock management, everything.
I love that. I hadn't thought of that piece of it, but I totally agree. It's the famous Bum Phillips quote talking about Bear Bryant. He can take his and beat yours, and you can take yours and beat his.
Oh, wow. I like that.
It's really good. But, that's what the great coaches do is, you know what? They might be out-talented by the Eagles, and they probably are. I don't think that's a might. But if you're Sean Payton going up against Nick Sirianni, who's a good coach, this is when you say, hey, I am one of the best coaches in the NFL. These are the games that show those sorts of things.
Can you repeat that quote one more time?
He can take his and beat yours, and then he can take yours and beat his.
Sounds like what Kyle Shanahan did on Thursday night.
Yeah,
it doesn't actually
exactly.
really matter who plays quarterback for this guy right now. He's like, oh, we're down 8 starters.
Right.
Cool. I can go beat Sean McVay and his team. And then if you gave me his team, I could beat his team.
Yep.
Or I could beat my whatever.
Yep.
You know? So that's a great quote.
Yeah.
That's a great quote.
I love opportunities to bring it back up.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. And there's so many layers to that. I think the Chargers game, for example, that was one where going into it, you say, you got to have a trick play drawn up for this one.
Yep.
Whether it's a flea flicker, whether it's like a double pass, whatever it may be, you have something drawn up, and they wound up almost hitting the flea flicker that was drawn up. That's like the tip of the iceberg here. You got to have the trick play. You've got to have 3 to 4 plays in the red zone where you think you can score a touchdown with them. You need some awesome plays for third downs. But I agree. The Broncos have never been this season in a situation to save plays. Where they can say, you know what, we don't need this. We're just going to push it to next week. The bag has kind of been empty, but that's kind of the genius of Sean Payton is that every single week he's going to come up with some new ideas. Has told stories in the past that there are a lot of nights, most weeks, Friday night, Thursday night, he's up at 2 a.m. in his office saying, I'm out of ideas. All my good ideas are gone, and then boom, he's got one. And so you just hope that the list is long this week, because I agree. This would be a statement win. I think the biggest win of his Broncos career is ending the streak against the Chiefs. There was the Bills win as well, which was pretty cool, but this would be right up there. And at least in the Bo Nix era, this would be number one.
Yeah, this would for sure be number one, I believe, also because the Philadelphia Eagles are undefeated. They've won 20 of their last 21.
Yep, 18 in a row when Jalen Hurts starts.
Sheesh, 18 in a row when Jalen Hurts starts, which is, that's an incredible stat.
Yeah.
I also think, Sean is, just knowing him, he's going to be aggressive in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And he is, I think if Denver gets off to a fast start, you could really put the Eagles in a real bind. Because I don't think Jalen Hurts can beat you with the arm.
No.
And I wouldn't play any man. I would not play any man-to-man.
Okay.
All zone. He can't read the coverage. Stay disciplined in your rush lanes, but we'll get. I guess we can get to that later. But I think this is a coaching staff game. Vance Joseph got to be at your best. Sean Payton calling these plays. You have to be at your best. And 4th and 1s, 4th and 2s, your got to have it situations.
Mm-hmm.
Sean's got to be on point, which I think he will be. Sean does a really good job of looking at all the explosive plays of the other team. A lot of teams do this, but they look at all the explosive plays that have been hit on the Eagles all year. And he will try to find those same plays, dress them up differently, and try to find those matchups. And I think, Sean, I think that's what he'll do today.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you brought up Evan Ingram, which I think is a good one. Mm-hmm. He really had his chance to break out last week, and things he had the drop, the foot out of bounds. So close. I think he could turn the corner. Another guy I'm looking at, though, is J.K. Dobbins. And he's been playing well, and there's no reason to think it won't continue. Like, I think all the things that he does is sustainable. Maybe there's some question marks to the offensive line against the Eagles front. But I think this matchup between him and Saquon is a lot of fun, especially because these are old Big Ten rivals.
Yeah.
The J.K.'s first year at Ohio State. First of all, he was the first freshman running back to start week 1 since Archie Griffin. Those are the only two. That's a good running back. But that freshman season, he finishes second team All Big Ten because first team is Saquon and Jonathan Taylor. And so these guys have been going back and forth for forever. I tried to catch up with JK this week. He had to go lift on Thursday. He's like, I'll get you tomorrow. But then they had to leave right after practice yesterday, so they didn't even open the locker room. Friday. So I didn't get that done because I really want to talk to him. We'll do it in London. But I think this is a big one for him, and particularly with Saquon on the other side. Because if you go out there and run for 80 yards and the Broncos get this win, all of a sudden you can start to wonder whether this could be like a great rushing attack. Because I think that's the piece that's still missing for the Broncos is, defense up and down, but you trust it. You see the potential. You see how it could be ready to win some playoff games. The offense is still missing kind of that core piece, that thing that you can lean on. The run game is really close to being there with J.K. Dobbins leading the way.
Yeah, I think this is going to be I didn't know that about the J.K. being the first.
Yeah. His whole story is crazy.
At Ohio State.
So he's also from LaGrange, Texas.
Okay.
Tiny town. I'm from a small town in Montana. Somehow LaGrange, Texas, even smaller, is like 4,000 people. So he's the day one starter at Ohio State. The week before was Hurricane Harvey. And so in LaGrange, Texas, which is a little ways inland, it had flooded to the point where I think it was like 40%, 20% of the buildings were flooded. And so everybody in this tiny hometown is watching him play. He goes for 180 yards week one at Ohio State. And like there's no D1 players don't come from LaGrange. Like there are so many pieces of JK's story that like I hope that I'm the one who gets to write a book about him someday.
Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, I mean he's been a superstar his entire life, and I think this could be the one that really gets him on track here.
Well, yeah, this is going to be, there's going to be a lot of eyes on him today. There's going to be a lot of eyes just on the matchup. And, if you have a great rushing day, if J.K. has a great rushing day today, that will become the Broncos' identity because the Philadelphia Eagles have a great defensive line, just a great defense overall, period. If you can run the ball like you did last week, that now becomes the identity.
Right.
And that now becomes what Sean can lean on. That's now what Bo can lean on. And the best thing for a second-year quarterback and a young quarterback is a great run game. But this also, to me, I believe, if J.K. has a huge day today against this defense, you're now talking top 5, top 8 running back in the league. Not based off of just pure talent. Like, Saquon is an extreme talent.
Yes.
But right now, JK's playing better than him.
Right.
JK's playing better than him on less carries. I would say Philly's offensive line might be better than ours.
So
maybe.
I would have said coming into the year, but now you watch and so Saquon 1.7 yards per carry before contact.
Yeah.
JK's at 3. That's some of that's the vision. Some of that's the vision. But that offensive line, there's a lot of stats that would say Broncos have the better line today.
This is a JK not coming out party, but this is one of the things that could re-put him back on the map nationally.
Right.
And it'll be a great battle. And Saquon is, Saquon's a former teammate of mine. He is going to look to get going. And you watch the tape from the Colts game, which the Eagles are probably going to try to do a lot of those types of runs. Saquon, he could have a big day.
He could. He's capable.
And Saquon doesn't need a lot of carries, which is, to get going. He only needs one carry to get going. I've played with him where, we give him the ball the first play of the game. And I'll never forget this in Dallas. We played the Cowboys week 1. The first carry of the game, he took it 65 yards. And it's just like, what is going on? So he has that type of home run ability. We have to keep him contained. But I think J.K. can have a big day. I think he will. They're going to need not 100 yards, but they're going to need consistent 4 to 5 yards in a cloud of dust.
And if you get an 18-yarder in there, a couple of those, then all of a sudden you start talking about those big numbers.
I'm excited to see RJ in this type of environment now. Because, I don't know. To me, this feels like now the season is starting. I felt like it would have been like that last week if Burrow had played. But, you play Herbert, okay. You play Daniel Jones, and then you played Cam Ward. Like, now you're playing, some legit competition.
Yeah.
Where the players are star-studded and the ability is there. I mean, you have just unique players, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon.
Yep.
Those are dogs.
Yeah.
Dogs. So,
and, guys on that offensive line, too. Mailata.
Yeah. Lane Johnson.
Right. Like it's everywhere. It's something we used to say about the 49ers is they just have an all-pro at every position. Tight end, offensive line, running back, receiver, everywhere. Eagles are right there too. I'm curious. One more thing on this run game. So last week we saw the Broncos get into that crack toss over and over and over again. And they had 2 variations of it, but for the most part, it was just kind of the same play over and over again. Of the 7 tosses, 5 of them had Marvin Mims going in motion the other way before the snap. It was it may be finding a piece of the offense that you can lean on the rest of the way. Because I go back to that Dolphins game, the one we try not to talk about too often a couple years ago, the 70-20 game when the Dolphins didn't run a crack toss very often, 14 in that game though, and the rest of the way, that's a massive piece of an offense that wound up, I think it was leading the NFL in points and second in yards. I want to see them get back to that today because these defensive ends are not what they used to be for the Eagles.
Who are the ends?
Well, actually, we can transition the notes here.
Yeah.
The big news is that Azeez Ojulari, from the Giants, former early draft pick SEC guy, is making his season debut today. Okay. He's off of IR. So we'll be out there with Zadarius Smith is still out there, good player. Jalix Hunt will probably get moved to the bench. So we'll see what exactly that rotation looks like. But still, Azeez Ojulari, speed guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's, might I say, a less developed Nick Bonito would be somewhat of a comp. And so you start throwing the cracks that way, start running those tosses toward your corners. Quinyon Mitchell out there, smaller corner, having a great season, but smaller corner. I want to see him kind of lean on something that they found that worked last week.
I'm curious to see how that would work just based off of how much zone that they're playing. You know, they're a very disciplined rush team.
Right.
So when you have ends like Trey Hendrickson for Cincinnati, you know, guys who like to rush the passer, that's the best way to negate them. But correct me if I'm wrong, Philadelphia is playing a 4-3?
No, 3-4 now.
3-4?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so you might, crack toss could, definitely work. Yeah, I don't know how or what explosive plays have been hit on them in terms of the run game, but I know crack toss is usually like a week-to-week thing. But if they are playing a 3-4, then crack toss does work. You know, those are things that we ran against the Patriots and other teams where they have those stand-up ends where you do the crack toss, you get out, you try to out-leverage them.
Yes, and I think it helps. So week one, I wasn't thrilled with the Broncos receivers blocking. I think Courtland Sutton in particular had a couple plays where it's like it's inside zone. You don't blame him for maybe not being totally into it on an inside zone run. Doesn't feel like you matter. But you see him kind of jog in. If he had run and hit that safety, then the run might have gone a lot further.
Yeah.
That was just a week one complaint. Ever since then, he's been blocking well. The rest of the receivers maybe been a bit up and down, but have been trying really hard, which is step one at the very least. Watching them last week on all those crack tosses, it gets them engaged because it's behind them. Yeah. You know, whether if it's Court on the crack, obviously he's taking out the defensive end and gets to like flex after. Sure, you're blindsiding the guy who doesn't see it coming, but still, it's a win that is against a big boy. It makes you feel good. You can also let him lead the way down the sideline. I think it engages receivers to block in a way that sometimes you would know better than me. It doesn't seem like they're always that engaged.
Yeah, I guess it really just depends. You know, I was a blocking receiver, so
right.
That's how I made the team was blocking on crack toss. But it is a way to keep you engaged when you have an explosive back. And I think Sean probably pointed that out after week one. Hey, if we want to have explosive plays in the run game, a lot of that comes from the receivers blocking downfield. When you look at those, you look at the running backs, look at Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
You look at, I can't necessarily say for Philly because I don't know if A.J. Brown is blocking right now. But the best teams that I've been on, DT was an incredible blocker. Emmanuel would go in there. I would block. Cody Latimer would block. When I played in New York, we definitely blocked for Saquon because, he had the ability to touch the ball and score at any point in time. So I think the receivers will have to have a big blocking game because the Philadelphia Eagles have very active safeties and safeties that will come up and make tackles. So, I can see Courtland continuing to make plays. Pat Bryant had the great block on the Marvin Mims touchdown. Yeah. So these are the little things that make you a great team, and it's going to take everything right now to get this done.
I agree. That was the big note, is that Azeez Ojulari is going to be playing for the first time this week. Outside of that, no big absences on the Eagles side. Broncos, still nothing too surprising. Jaleel still on the sidelines. Still got Tyler Badea up as the third back. Savion Jones made his debut last week. They had Jordan Jackson inactive. They flip it. Jordan Jackson is back to the active list. Savion on the sideline. Not sure why that is. Honestly, don't really care. I think that's about it for the notes. There were some rumors that there was this big rainstorm that's going to be here. Nope. Looks like it's going to be just normal weather.
Oh, I hate rain games.
Do you? Okay.
Rain,
You're a receiver. Yeah.
Yeah, rain games are the absolute worst. I mean, it's just awful to try to catch the ball in the rain. The gloves suck. You got to put on different cleats. But that's a story for another day since there is no rain today.
Right. Maybe next week.
Yeah.
Maybe next week.
Hopefully not.
Hope not. Yes. How did the Broncos win this game? What's our roadmap here? Let's start at the very beginning. Are you coming out on offense? You running first? You passing? What are you trying to get done early on? And then same thing on defense.
Yeah, if I'm the Broncos and I'm coming out to try to win this game, I'm definitely establishing the run, controlling. Yep. I want to keep – I'm not that worried about Philly's offense, but I want to keep our offense on the field. Let's have long, sustainable drives. Let's keep everything in third and fourth and short.
Yep.
Let's do that. Let's stay ahead of the sticks. The same thing that you did against Cincinnati, let's do that. Third and fourth and short. That's the type of way you win this game offensively. You have to have some explosive plays. Where are your explosive plays? You have to be able to attack the middle of the field. One thing that I think can help Bo out in this game is Sean getting the play in quickly, letting him being able to diagnose, maybe do a little bit of up-tempo so the defense has to show what type of defense that they're running.
Mm-hmm.
I think that will help Bo out tremendously. But the run game is one of the most important things for the Broncos. Defensively, you have to be disciplined with your rush lanes.
Yep.
Because Jalen Hurts, although he's not the Lamar Jackson, Bo Nix, Josh Allen type of scrambler, he can scramble and extend plays. So be disciplined in your rush lanes. Make the tackle when it is there. Mm-hmm. Keep them out of third and short. Because third and short to them means, all right, we're going to try to get 2 yards, and then we're going to try to get to the tush push.
Yep.
Keep them out. I would play zone. I would force Jalen Hurts to read the coverage, which I don't think he does really well. Be ready for A.J. Brown. Mm-hmm. Be ready for the targets in the first half. Once he gets frustrated, then you can take him completely out of the game. And then limit their explosive plays. Tackle Saquon when you get to him. You cannot miss tackles on this guy because, one missed tackle turns into a 20, a 30, or 40-yard run. So discipline. And if, handle the noise. So special teams, we need a big play on special teams. Field position, I think, is going to be very important in this game. Marvin Mims, love to see a big play there on special teams.
Yeah. Real quick, before we jump back into it, got to give a shout out to our friends over at Coors Light, presenting sponsor of this pregame show. We got the Coors Light right here in front of me. Going to be drinking some of those today. Again, a little bit different, the 11 a.m. game versus 2:30 game. I guess we've been playing the 2 games. Nobody puts the Broncos on 2:30 quite yet. But a couple of Coors Lights for sure. Just got to get through the coffee first, unfortunately. Maybe not. Maybe we skip the end of the coffee. Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. Just like the straight Coors Light. Coors Light is the best. Colorado company, which we love. It's cold lagered, cold filtered, cold packaged for a smoother finish. When you embrace the chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill, crack open a Coors Light. Coors Light is mountain cold refreshment, crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. If you would like to drink some Coors Light today, but maybe didn't pre-plan before the game, you can still make the most out of times that you choose to chill by choosing Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Beer. All right. Also, want to remind everybody, we're going to be talking for the next 4 hours. 3 hours on the watch along, then the post game show. Arcade is going to be back here pretty soon, but it's going to be a fun day.
It is going to be a great day.
So make sure you keep hanging out with us the rest of the way. All right. I agree. The third and shorts are going to be huge. I'm of the belief that any offense should be able to convert a 4th and 1. Like, you just should be able to do that, whether it's a sneak, whether it's
so
a
you're
run.
mad at Sean McVay for his fourth down call.
Yeah. I had put some money on the Rams, so I was particularly mad. In fact, right at the end, so after they punted, or after the 49ers got the ball back at the 1 yard line on the fumble, that's when I took them at like 6-1 odds to win. I was like, oh, it's perfect. They get the ball back. They got the opportunity to send it to overtime. There were a lot of things I was really upset with. But yeah, I think one of the disappointing parts of this Broncos offense so far is that they tried the QB sneak those first couple games. It didn't really work. We haven't really seen them go back to it. You got to find something on your own side that wins in those situations. For the
Dobbins.
Eagles, though, it really is automatic. It honestly might be time for J.K. Dobbins. One more stat. I forgot to say this before. Eagles are giving up 4.8 yards per carry, 5th worst in the NFL. And I don't think people recognize that when we talk about the Eagles because it's Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and all those guys.
And they've been winning.
Exactly. Yeah. But there's a possibility to run here, which was the final piece of the J.K. Dobbins thing from 15 minutes ago. But yeah, I think it's all about those 3rd and shorts. Broncos need to convert some of their own. Eagles, do your best, try to stop it, but I agree. It comes down to not giving them 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I wonder if this is a Troy Franklin game too. Just with his speed. I think Quinion Mitchell, they don't switch sides, I don't believe, because they're playing so much zone. But like trying to find, the matchup for Troy to get loose, I think he could have some big plays. Well,
I think it's interesting that so he has played in the slot more than any other Bronco. It's almost 2/3 of his snaps in the slot. Evan Ingram's second at like 55%. He's a tight end. So if you just look at receivers, he is kind of their slot guy at this point.
Yeah.
Obviously, Cooper DeJean plays primarily in the slot for the Eagles, and he's a good player. He's good at that role. But part of the reason they kind of talk about moving him to safety is that his speed gets exposed when he plays on the boundary, and that's why he's such a perfect fit. Can you use Troy's kind of next level speed and next level twitchiness on top of that, like the change of direction that Cooper just doesn't quite have? He brings a lot of things to the table. That's the weakness. That's the reason he isn't, the best corner in the NFL. I like that matchup in particular for the Broncos on, some deep corners, whatever it may be, clear out the corner on the sideline. I do think there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, there's a real opportunity, and I think the Broncos will take advantage of it, whether it is Troy or whether it is Evan Ingram. So,
yeah,
plenty of opportunities right here. Just shout out to the Vikings for getting a win.
I appreciate that one.
And the reason why I bring that up is because you think about Kevin O'Connell, these top coaches, and the way that they're helping these quarterbacks. Carson Wentz, they thought his career was going to be over. You saw with what Kyle Shanahan is doing with Mac Jones.
Yeah. And Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy.
So this is one of the reasons why I'm putting this game on, making this a Sean Payton type of game. Yep. It's like, tell the defense what you want them to do. Make them do what you want them to do. The fact that everybody knows that Justin Jefferson is the guy and Kevin O'Connell could just dress up so many ways to get him the ball, I think is incredible. It also let you know that, who's ever calling plays for the Eagles doesn't have that type of creativity.
I agree.
Or ability to see certain things.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting to see.
It is.
Broncos defense has to come to play, though.
I agree.
You got to set the tone, get them frustrated early.
Yep.
I'm leaning on playing zone coverage, but get them frustrated early because those Philly fans will turn on the offense immediately. They will start
there could be halftime
these
booze.
Guys. Yeah,
absolutely. We're going to get out here with the pregame picks, which I sent in already. Our pregame picks are presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code DNVR365. Deposit $10. Place a bet for $5. Get $300 in bonus bets. Must be 21 or older. Physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or somebody who has a gambling problem wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Okay, first, we've got Jalen Hurts under 191.5 passing yards. Even money. He's only done that once this year. I don't think he does it today. Saquon Barkley under 83.5 rushing yards. I believe he's also only done that once, and I don't think it happens today. Just following those trends, finally, J.K. Dobbins, 70 rushing yards, plus 230. You can actually find him to have the most scrimmage yards in this game, 5-1 odds. I kind of like that one as well. Those are pregame picks from Bet365, and that's going to do it for today. Like I said, Bennie and I are going to be on this watch-along. RK is going to be here any minute, getting back from the Buffs game in Texas last night. Give us a like on the way out. Throw some comments. All that stuff really helps, and we'll see you on the other set here in 10 minutes.
Appreciate you guys.
We all silly like the mayor.